Welcome back to the channel, guys. So this evening I've got a special one for you. So I'm going to do a full reveal of the van in all its glory, because I know we've done a reveal previous, but when I did that reveal I didn't really know Ava, right? She wasn't my van. She was just a transition between one person and another, right? So today I thought it's been a good 6 months or so since I got Ava. So what I want to do is I want to show you all around as much as I possibly can, and give you just a good old rundown and overview. I know I said earlier during the introduction, but yeah, I just wanted to just say hello. I don't think I've ever been this full on the video before, have I? But yeah, here we are. Here we are at the Uffington White Horse hill, which is a National Trust site, and a magical place. Well, I'm going to actually take you up the hill later as well. Who misses? But yeah, we'll have a look up the hill, and we'll have my dinner here as well. But when I do dinner, I'm going to move to a different place because I am under a tree, and lighting the gas oven under a tree is probably not the best thing, right? But yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to show you around Ava. We'll do the outside first, and then we'll jump on in. All right? We'll see you in a sec. So welcome to Ava. She is a Talbot Express Avalon, and she is fairly old. So she's on a J plate, which makes her a little bit over 30 years old, but she's magical, absolutely magical. She's my witch wagon. She's what gets me from A to B and back again, and we have just so much fun together, as you know. But I'm going to go around and just explain some of the features really on the outside, what we've got, etc, etc. But yeah, let's have a go. Of course, she has a sliding door on the side. What camper van wouldn't be a camper van without a sliding door? That really is the main access point throughout. Any time I'm sort of using it, to be honest, I hardly ever use the driver's door. I just find that a bit better, and it gets me into the van, and I just feel more part of the van when I'm using the door. She's in very good nick. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but she's been very well looked after throughout her life. When I was actually on my way back from buying the van, when I bought it from down in Bognor Regis, I hit a pothole about 10 minutes from coming from home, and I heard the bang, and it was that front wheel that obviously I'd hit the pothole in, and I didn't realise that I'd actually lost one of the hubcaps. But that's what she originally had in terms of hubcaps. she's got 3, just not 4. She originally had this plastic trim around here as well. It was like a rubber sort of plastic trim, but it's been advised on a lot of the channels that this should be taken off because it's a harbour for collecting water, which it was. There's a lot of corrosion. You can see a lot of the metal has actually come away, which isn't a major problem for me, but it's all good. Above her, we've got the Fiamma F35 Pro awning, which is absolutely amazing. It's a bit of a pain to put out because you have to do it yourself. Well, you don't have to do it yourself. I have to do it myself because I'm on my own, right? But yeah, what I mean is you have to manually do it, and it can be quite weighty, but it's a good workout all the same. So we fuel her from the front. So she takes E5, which is the higher octane fuel, and it's quite unusual to be fueling a vehicle from that point, but that's where she takes her fuel. Further down the side here, we've got a couple of vents. These vents are essentially for the fridge. So we've got a 3-way fridge inside, which does function. That'll be that one there, Electrolux, and we've got various other bits and pieces inside, which is what these vents are for. But yeah, it's a typical van of its age. It's got these very unique sort of square lights, which is not something you see a lot of really these days, is it? It's fairly unique. I've got the AA badge on the front, even though I was going to say sponsored. I'm covered by the RAC. God forbid, touch wood, the day I do have a breakdown, that the guy sees that badge, like, oh my God, you're identifying as an AA call-out person. I think, yeah, well, whatever. Big window. I've got all of my flowers and stuff in there, which we've all seen before. And you probably notice from the front as well, it's got a very small nose, which is really cool because you're literally sitting on top of the bonnet, sitting on top of the engine. I love that because Parking it is so easy. Used to be a van. I mean, it's coach built, so what that means is it started life as a normal panel van, and then a company took it, which I believe is Auto Homes, and turned it into what you see, a Juicy, well, half of the Juicy Ava. Yeah, fairly big wing mirrors, which are good. You need them because you can't really see much out the back. But down the right side is fairly basic, I suppose. Although there is the water point there, so that's to fill up the water tank inside. And we've got the Carver Cascade 2 water heater component, which has leaks in the past, and it's been from that point there, the drain plug. You can even see where there's been water staining. Exhaust under there, about where the exhaust is. In fact, just to the left of it here is, I don't know if you can see, I'll see if I can get you under there. That is my water tap, which is the drain for the actual water tank inside. Bit of string, I must not forget to take that off. I basically put that on there because that's what I use. You probably remember when I put the mount on the outside of the van to stop it from, well, to minimise the risk of the camera falling and disappearing into the ether. And down here, this is the EHU point, so this is where we connect up when we're on site, the main electrics. So we get AC power in the van. That's the back of her. Quite a standard sort of back end for a van really, but I've got all my little things on there. There's a thing of Thomas, if I just show you, it's pretty cool. And LPG label, which obviously we need to have that on just in case, but my daughter thought it would be quite funny to put on some bullet holes. Obviously not real bullet holes, but yeah, the Juicy Ava, I need to get one for YouTube now. I think it's probably relevant to get a YouTube one. And at the back we've got a step, and under there is the, you can just see the hose there to the left, and then there's the tank. That's the grey water tank. So that's the outside of Ava. I think it's time we went in and had a look around, and we'll see what's what within the van. So welcome guys, welcome to my humble abode on wheels. This is we're on a bit of a slope, but shouldn't matter for giving you a look around, and we're under the trees as well. So I'm going to try and I'll put some lights on. So this is the space from looking into the van, the main sort of living space, where we've got all of the living components and everything I essentially need to be comfortable while in Ava. And it's took a little bit of time to get used to it because the space is obviously smaller than what you would expect in a camper van, you know, the sort of camper van that people convert and things like that. This is pre-built, so what you see is what you get almost. Although people have converted these, they have ripped bits out and changed them over, but I've got no idea why you're going to do that to something like this. It's so classic. I know I've painted, don't get me wrong, I know I've painted, but that's a story for later. My theme obviously being purple. But Ava, you can, from sort of the countertops, the worktops, you can see she kind of arches in quite abruptly towards where the doors are towards the back. Because obviously the outside of the van starts off quite wide and then narrows as it gets further up, which will be due to, well, it's down to the, I guess it's fiberglass, the fiberglass top, maybe, I don't know. But let's have a look around anyway. I'll try and work from left front to rear, and I don't know, just talk you through what we've got really. So this section here, up here, is it's the bedding area for plus two people really. One of my children have slept up there in the past, and they loved it. I've not actually tried myself. It would feel quite claustrophobic, I think, for me, or for any adult, I guess. But this all pulls out and runs along this rail, and it meets up at this point here. And it is a good space, to be fair. I should try it, as I say, but I've not done it as yet. For me, it's just storage. You can see both sides have got these rails coming along. There's only this one light on the right hand side, which is above one of the windows. I like these blinds because are they mosquito net blinds? Do they get called that? I don't really know. But it's quite good because you can interchange between your blackout, which they do really work, or you know, your flying net. We'll call it a flying net. And they've got vents as well running along. There has been night times where I've been in the van and particularly the lower side. You can see just down here, the lower side, you can actually feel the air coming through. It's quite nice. This window was leaky to start with when I first got the van. It used to pour in. It came from one of the seals just above the top of the window on the outside, but I managed to sort that out. The curtains are what were originally with the van when I bought her. I've just gone on and fitted my own fairy lights because that's how I roll. There's quite a bright spotlight there. I've not really found a need for that, but it is quite a good light. They're just your typical filament bulbs that I fitted. They get pretty hot. There's one on the other side, but I need to exchange the bulb for that one because it's gone. So moving down into the kitchen area, this is kind of the main sort of work panel, electric panel. Essentially switches in that position, that means you're on van mode, so to drive. We'll put them to this position, all three down. That's when you're on shore, so if you're connected, those three go down. Across to the right, we've got a set of fuses and what's supposed to be the battery status for the smart battery. I don't understand this because it's always on, well, what you would think is low battery, right? But it's not low battery. I've checked that. I think there's something going on with the electrical system, and it's just perhaps it's connected up the wrong way. Maybe that would make sense because it's definitely full. Down here you got the water level, so you can check this by pressing the button. It's not got very much water in, so it's shown 0, but there's enough obviously for what I need today, which is just having a chat with you guys and making a bit of dinner in a little while. So this is the water pump. So when you click that on, you can hear the pump going. You probably saw the lights just flicker a little bit there. That there is a port for connecting up my 12 volts, call it, 12 volts power. It's quite a strange plug, isn't it? That just plugs in there, and yeah, and that's the cupboard that took my eye out almost. I had a black eye for nearly a week, but it's quite a spacious cupboard. This is where I keep all my witchy stuff, you know, incense and whatever else, all of that sort of good stuff. What witch doesn't travel with a pack of bay leaves? You need bay leaves. It's a requirement. Enough on that subject, Lucy. Yeah, nice cupboard. I did mention that's the Cascade 2 Carver Cascade 2 power controller. That's the main switch for the hot water. That doesn't work. I'm looking to get that took out, I think. Loads of bench space to do all sorts of cooking. You know, you can invite the family around, and there's all this space for them. Absolutely loads of space to do whatever you want. Obviously, I'm not sarcastic at all, but there we go. Yeah, it's actually not too bad, to be fair. Again, like I said just before, I've managed to get to that point where I can use the space, and it's really good. To be fair though, I feel like the kitchen is my favourite section of the van. It really is just so unique, especially the oven. I mean, how many vans have you ever known to have a bloody oven in it? I mean, I don't know. This is all new to me, right? But yeah, love this section. We've got I cleaned it all today because it was looking a bit grubby, but we've got the gas hob. So we've got the same size burners, which work very well. And there's an aluminium sort of heat plate here, just to deflect while you're cooking. But underneath, I've not actually used the grill before, but how cool is that? I mean, come on. So Andrea, the beautiful lady who gave me the honour of bringing Ava home, said it makes the best cheese on toast on the planet, and I'm yet to do that. I'm really sorry, Andrea, but I've not actually reported back to you, have I, honey, about the cheese toasties? So I need to get on that. Cheese on toast. There's me saying the kitchen's the best, but it probably will officially become the best kitchen in the world if I ever get around to doing that. But the oven, I mean, we've seen this before, right? And we'll see it again. But yeah, pizza. Remember the date night? Pizza date night? Yeah, it was fab. In fact, I'm going to be going down to Bognor Regis because one of you beautiful people out there, you know who you are. she would love nothing more than a pizza date night with me and a bottle of wine or 3. So we'll what we'll have to do, Dee, is find somewhere where that is possible. But I'll certainly take you up on that offer, 100%. Oh, brilliant! I love it. Okay, so heading back towards the rear of the van into the bathroom sort of utilities area, I'll call it. That on the floor, and I will show you, is the shower tray. We'll have a little bin at the back, which really is just for very small bits and pieces. There's a lock on the door. There's been a modification done to the lock, and it does help to be able to pull the door. It has bitten me once or twice, so you've got to be careful with that. There's something else that bites you, is the head height. It's not very high when you come in from the back, especially when you use your full body to push up through your legs to get in. That's what the bunton's there for. It's to stop you from, or to warn you, but you're not looking up when you come through. Trust me, I know. Last time I did a reveal, there was a shower curtain fitted. I've not actually got around to doing anything about that, but the rail's still there and the curtain hook things. I've since cleaned the fan out, so the extractor fan does work. So that's external and that's internal. That's actually really nice, especially on a hot day like today. You know, you could really have the bathroom door pulled too, as I've got it now, just to, you know, keep the bathroom area away. It does make it a bit cozy, I guess. You've got the mirror. Hi. I curled my hair today. I hardly ever curl my hair. I'm going to try and keep doing it. But yeah, it's quite a good mirror. You know, it's big enough for what you need, right? But let's have a look in the bathroom. So it's tight space, as you already know, but we'll see how we get on. I guess you can see what's changed, if much, since last time. It's had a thorough clean. I found that in the sink unit, down in the drain hole. You can just see the drain hole there. There's a lot of crap had built up, and there was some old sealant in there, which it stood the test of time. So I actually pulled all of the bathroom units out. I mean, the bathroom units, there's only one. Just literally this, but it forms, you know, a couple of functions, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm going to go for bathroom units. It's my van, so I what I say goes. And there's another Juicy Lucy in a mirror. Oh my goodness, there's Juicy Lucy's everywhere, right? Can you imagine there being more than one of me? Oh my goodness. Oh god, right, I'm waffling on. Right, we've got a light, usual on off. Don't want to teach you to suck eggs, but on is on, off is off. But this pulls down. But yeah, again, we've still got 6 places for toothbrushes. That's not changed. We've got spaces each side to put your soap. Maybe his and hers, or hers and hers, or hers and his. I don't know. It depends what way you float, right? Don't really matter these days. Not that it should have mattered any day. But yeah, I digress. So this is the shower. This pulls out all of the way and clips up in the top area, which is right there. So it plugs in there, and you stand there and have a shower with the shower curtain around. It does totally encapsulate you. I'm just looking at the shower curtain. It does totally encapsulate you, but it's going to be one of those, right? As soon as there is water pressure, it's going to, surely the shower curtain must stick to you. But hot and cold running, again, we don't have hot water, as you already know. That ends up coming down into the basin, so you can wash your teeth, wash your face, whatever else. I normally do a bit of a body wash from the water in there, which works well for me. All bleach clean. This place is immaculately clean. I'll just bang my arm. You know, I like to keep the hygiene high because we're out in the field, right? So this is the toilet. This is what they call a cassette toilet. This is the open and close, and if you press this, it's supposed to flush, but mine doesn't. I do need to look into that as to why it doesn't flush. Back here, if I just hold that, you've got a little cupboard in there, a little hideaway. That's where I keep my toiletries, toilet cleaning products. So typical Thetford cassette toilet is what it is. This bit over here, that's for the flush, for the liquid to come out, but again, I need to fix that. That's the open and the close, and cross, so there's a lid to lift up there for the guys. Yeah, we don't do splashes on the seats, please, if you come and stay. And over there's, well, it's supposed to be a spare toilet. Looks like that's got water on it. Probably one of the kids at some point. Yeah, towel holder. There used to be here, there used to be a metal rack, but it was a bit manky, so I've taken that out and I'm going to replace it at some point. Back of the door, you've got somewhere to hang your whatever, towels and stuff, I guess, and on the bottom of that is another handle for stuff. There is so much space in Ava, honestly. There's cupboards everywhere. This top one I tend to use for toiletries and things like that, so I've got all my spare toiletries at the back there. You can't see because it's behind this box. Sun creams, spare toilet rolls. Normally there's extra kitchen roll, but I've not got an additional one in there. Towels, makeup, mirrors. Next cupboard down. This is, they call it a garage, right? Everybody has a garage in a van. It's where you keep all of the stuff you put in your garage at home, I guess. For me in here, we've got camping chairs. We've got the camp beds, 2 camp beds, 3 camp chairs. There's also a place in here where we stow the table legs. You can just see the steel shine in there. So there is 2 tables that you make up in Ava. Down below is where I keep just things like the spare fuel canisters and things like that. That's all kept in there. It has a rail at the top for hanging clothes in, but I don't bother with anything like that. I just tend to just go with a bag of clothes, which, to be fair, in the top cupboard as well, I normally put that sort of stuff. So the other side of the kitchen, we've got the main sink, the main washing area, and all of my sort of bits and pieces for that department. We've also got the fridge. I'm actually going to have to spin around and go back out the door so I can give you a proper look at the fridge, because it's alright when you're using it, but when you're trying to use a camera and show somebody around, it can be quite a challenge. So this is what they call a 3-way fridge. So she runs on gas, electric, so when you're plugged in, or on the battery, sorry, on shore, or on the battery. So when you drive into places, I tend to switch it on to the main battery, because we're driving, we're charging the battery with the alternator, and it's safe to do. So I have mostly used it on gas, because usually I'm wild camping, and that's what this function is for here. So this is the gas controls. You've got the ignition to light it, and depending on the position of the gas will dictate how much flame you've got, so how cold essentially you want to make the fridge. Over there you've got that's the electric side, so the higher the number, the cooler the fridge will go, and you've got your switch there for jumping between shore at the top, 0 position it's in, that's when we run gas, and the bottom one you can see the battery symbol. But yeah, it's a fairly sized fridge. It's pretty useful, really. Bearing in mind this is 30-odd-year-old, right, and it still works. It's pretty cool. Excuse the pun. There's enough space for, you know, a few days of food and stuff that you need to keep chilled. You know, you can get a 4 pint of milk in there quite comfortably, a couple of bottles of water, etc. But you've also got this little freezer compartment, and that does actually work really well. It works better on shore than it does on gas, but it does work. I believe these are becoming a bit like hen's teeth in this sort of condition. I'm very lucky, because at the end of the day, it's a 30-odd-year-old fridge, right? I mean, you think how old your fridge is in your house. It's not 30-year-old, is it? Definitely not. Coming down, we've got another cupboard here. This is just my kitchen cupboard with cleaning products, window cleaner, brushes, pans. There's a few other bits and pieces, firelighters and stuff in there. That there is a vent for the central heating. We do have central heating. You'll remember back to one of my habitation check videos, we got the heating running, which I was so happy about. And that is the controller for the heating. It also works as a fan, so it doesn't always have to be a heater. You can have fan just to circulate air around within the van. You switch across to the left, that's for gas, and across to the right, that's just the fan on its own, so it's just circulating ambient air. The controller obviously is for the gas. The higher you go, the hotter it gets, so we'll switch that off. Yeah, just a place for your kitchen roll and stuff. Got the usual bits and pieces, you know, some hand sanitizer, dishwash soap, hot and cold running tap again. Guess what the hot one doesn't do? Yeah, you're right, it doesn't deliver hot water. It does deliver water, just not hot water. I think this plastic screen was an aftermarket thing, I don't know. It doesn't look original, if that makes sense. And a fairly sized sink, really. It's a pretty good sink. I mean, if I put the water on and show you, you know, we do have decent running water. And it comes from, I think it's about a 60 litre tank. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I should know these things. But yeah, that's what that is. And then we've got the usual cutlery drawer, etc. There's a few additional things in there. I've got fire extinguishers all over the place. You can never have too many, right? I've got torches, etc, etc. And down here is quite a cavernous cupboard for all my foods, all my dry foods, and this cupboard's seen more pockets, this cupboard's seen more pots of instant coffee than enough, I think, over the last 6 months. But we'll not go there, guys, you know that. You know what tastes better than Ava, right? Then briefly back over to the other side, and the cupboard opposite that is where I keep all of my pots and pans, plates, all of the good stuff. So this is where all that lives in little plastic crates for safety, especially with some glass bits and pieces. There's the Carver hot water system. Think of the old immersion heaters that you used to have in your house. It's essentially one of those, but it looks quite complicated with all the pipework and stuff, so I've not done anything with it. And finally, in this end, we've got the cupboard under the oven, which again is a huge space. That silver thing in the background, that is just insulation, and that is the wheel arch. But I've got my pans and stuff in there. If I can just zoom up a bit, or lift up a bit, I don't know how well you can see, but there is a Victron charging unit there. That's the charger for the shore battery, and you've got your normal house sort of circuitry there. That one there on the right with the fuse, this one, that is for the Carver system, but every time you put that on it just trips out. I think the Carver system is potentially a problem with the internal water heater, the electric side. It just shorts out, I think. Whew, quite warm in there. Somebody did suggest at one point that I should take these panels off on the back of the door and utilise them for extra space for putting things in, which is quite a good idea actually, because obviously it's the door card. The doors are hollow. There's obviously one each side, which, yeah, it's probably a good idea. We've got curtains on the back, and well, it's self-explanatory what they are for, but this is the bit here. This is the bit here which you tend to kiss with your with the top of your head, sorry, if you're not careful. The reason I come down here is just to show you this lower cupboard, because it's quite awkward to get to. You may have heard me mentioning this in the past when I've been doing various videos for cooking and stuff, but as it says on the tin, is what this is. So I carry 2 bottles at any time. Both are full, well, reasonably full. One of them, obviously the other one's full, but I always like to have at least 1 full bottle, just because you just never know. Should we have a look at the shower tray? Yeah, let's have a look. So when you have a shower, you can lock the door there, or if you need to go for a wee. And this is the shower tray. I think I've only opened this twice. Look at that. I'll take it out. Yeah, look at that. It's a bit mucky in there. Like I say, it's probably the second time I've pulled that off. But I guess if you brought the van, you know, reared it up into somewhere quite secluded, you could quite easily have a shower in there with the doors open. I mean, you've got the curtains, but I don't know. One day maybe I'll give it a go, right? But yeah, that's the shower tray. Again, it will run down into the grey water tank, which is directly under that point. On the toilet side of things, that green thing, that is a indication as to how full it is. The cassette. The cassette itself lives in this cupboard, so there it is there. It's dead easy to use or empty, and basically what you do is you just press this lever down here, and that allows you to pull the cassette out like that. I haven't got the door fully open. You have to actually open the door fully to get the cassette out. But once that's out, you take it to a designated area on a campsite to empty it. Or if you're feeling brave, do it at home. This bit here, this pulls out, and that's where you empty the contents. Once you've done that, give it a rinse. Under there are 2 bottles of the chemicals that we use in cassette toilets, so it has to be the correct stuff. Not usually bleach or anything like that. You need to be using chemicals which break down the enzymes of the human waste. I tend not to use it for anything other than number 1s, but if there's emergencies, then you got to go, right? There we go, handle back on. Yeah, that's the cassette for cleaning the toilet out. And that's the rear of Ava. So, let's have a look at the front end. How's the retour going so far, you guys? You still with me? Hopefully so. Hopefully still with me. Got a few more bits to show you, so let's keep going, eh? So you've all seen the seating arrangements before. You all know how the seats work and stuff like that. You all know the fact that I'm still trying to work out the best way to sleep in Ava. I think that's part of the uniqueness of Ava. There's not an actual right way to sleep in her. It can be quite annoying at sometimes, but you know what, it's all part of the fun, I suppose. But we've got a lot of space here really for doing everything you need to. She's comfortable. That side there again, I've said before, it's not a conventional sort of setup, because if you look, you can see here, that's blatantly obvious. It's a seat configuration like it is for this side, you know. Plus the fact you've got 2 seat belts on either side. Well, in fact, the seat belt on this side doesn't actually, it's not fitted. It needs to be replaced. But the one on that side has and is present and available. So I can only really take 2 passengers at the moment. But I'll show you under this one. I've actually put the camera down, and well, it's back on the mount that I start this video with, but at least it's in one fixed pace, and I can talk and walk at the same time. Talk and walk. Right, okay, take the cushions off, and you've got this panel here. This is actually part of the bed. Should we make the bed? We've never actually done that, have we? Yeah, let's do the bed. So that just lifts up, and here it's quite cavernous, as you can see. There's loads of space for all sorts of things. There's no sort of fixed order really in terms of what I've got where. I know where everything is, if that makes sense, and that works for me. I'm happy with that. If somebody says, "Oh, Lucy, where's this, where's that?" I'll be like, "Yeah, it's there, it's here, it's whatever." But yeah, it's just another space. I keep all my spare water in there as well. There's about 12 litres of water in the bottom there, and it's pretty much right down to here, you know, right down to the sort of the floor space as to where you can store things. This is one of the tables. So the tables, we've talked that before. It's got this port on this attachment on the bottom. That's for putting the pole in, which goes into the floor, which you'll see in a bit. But this actually, when you go to bed, this goes on there like that. Okay, that's where that goes. In the past, I've tried sleeping on this where my knees go and all sorts. Especially when I went to Wales, it was an absolute nightmare. But we'll show you that in a little while. So that's that side, and then that just sits back in there. That can go in there. And you've got the cushion here and the cushion there. So that's that side. But under there, it's a bit of a faff, but it's all achievable, right? Under there is more storage, so it's essentially more garagey type stuff. So that's my emergency burner. It's good for cooking outside and stuff. I say emergency, you know what I mean. But there's various things down there. I've got my Dutch oven and my little mini cauldron is down there. You can see the seat belts there. That's quite cool actually, because this is quite a cavernous, I would call it a door card. So, you know, you could put things down there, magazines, that sort of thing. But under here, this is the water. that's the main water tank. It's pretty big. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep the camera in a fixed place, which is where it is at the moment. It's currently attached to the front door, sort of. I'm just looking at my phone. I've got my phone to try and help me guide, and I'm gonna see about spiritual cleaning carried out. I'm gonna see about showing you guys how I put the bed together. But I'm gonna move out of the way. You don't need to see my fat face, and get the camera pointing down, and then we can try and go and make the bed. So here we go, let's have a look. So the first thing I have to do realistically is to get the base that you're looking at, that needs to go down onto the floor area in front of it. So it's dead easy, we just literally, no I don't, what the f am I doing? Heavens knows why, but I've been talking complete nonsense. I've got completely mixed up with something halfway along the line. But never mind. For some reason I was saying about the wooden board that sits above the water tank has to move, but that was complete nonsense. I'll try and retract to where I was. But yeah, so basically I want to put the bed together so you can see how the bed goes. So I've got that cushion there and a big plank of wood, which actually is the bit that sits in between the rails. Okay, I've got this down here ready. Essentially you have to just pull everything out and just chuck it down there for the time being. That board and this cushion, which is what runs along the middle, they live upstairs in the upstairs bit, obviously because it's upstairs. So the last day when I stayed at Park Farm, this is what we did, guys. I put the seat all the way forward. Driver's side, obviously. I'll get these cushions. What I do is put these two cushions, so basically the cushions that sit on the left hand side of the van, this is how I do it. So they just sit in there like that for now. It does have legs which fold out. This then comes and rests onto there like that. So you can see we're starting to build the bed now. This little contraption here is pretty cool. So he pulls out. Nabbing my fingers. So that pulls out into that sort of shape. It's got a nice little cut out there so it fits around. Which is good because that takes me on to the next bit. So you remember I was saying earlier about the seat bit. So that literally lifts over. I'm doing this one-handed, so how hard can it be? That sits on there like that. So then you got that bit, okay? And so you don't fall down into a game of Monopoly while you're trying to sleep. This is a table. Get the right way. The table goes in there like that, okay? So we got that. So we get in the van. Oop. This cushion then comes up. You should just sit that there. We're all over the place, one-handed Lucy. So I'm just winding the back seat of the driver's seat down. So that's fully back. That cushion will go there. I'll sit there like that. And then, woohoo, this is fun with one hand. This cushion comes across here. So that's the big back piece, which was obviously above the water tank, but under where I'm currently stood. Bearing in mind I do put a sheet all over this. And there we go. We have a complete livable, lie downable space, which is pretty big really when you think about it. There's quite a lot of space, right? And even this is quite cool. So when you're done for the day, you've been and done whatever, you just kick your shoes off, chuck them in there, and you climb on in. If I just go to the back of the van so you can have a look. And there, look, you've got all that space to sleep in. What do you think? I mean, it doesn't look very appetizing right now, this moment, but do you know what? You can actually see how much sleeping space you've got. Bearing in mind, you've got upstairs as well. Hey, so that's me having having 2 minutes just to lie down since making the bed. There's loads of space really. There's plenty of space to utilise for 2 adults. I mean, Anna and I slept in it quite comfortably. It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. So yeah, just takes a bit of while, bit of faff to get it all done. And if you've got 2 people in the van, it's chucking down with rain outside, say for example, it would be a bit of a challenge. When I've done the bed in the past with my daughter, what I normally get her to do is sit on the passenger seat. She just sits there with her legs crossed waiting for me to faff, and then she'll obviously get herself comfortable. But yeah, it's not too bad. Just one of the quirks of Ava, guys. So yeah, captain's chairs both sides in the front. There's quite a lot of space in the front as a sort of a cockpit area. So there's not really much that's changed up front, to be honest. In fact, nothing, I guess, other than, you know, all of the decorations all the way along. Just adds to the fun a bit, right? We've even got Louise, so that's Louise the skeleton. I don't think I've introduced Louise before. If I have, say so in the comments below. And got Karen the carrot. I think I've talked about carrot. I got my beautiful crochet flowers from neighbours, etc. And I've got all my little effects, my little wares. I bought that for Ava as a present. My daughter made my chakras. And I've got my beautiful guardian angel over here, which is from M&J. Thank you so much for you beautiful people. I love you both so much. And I've got my other wear, which is from, this is from Anna. She bought this for Ava as well. Thank you so much, my lovely. It is absolutely beautiful. You beautiful human. I also love you very much. I got my witchy bells, which you know of. Yeah, I like sparkly things. Do that, well, girl, don't I? But yeah, I like it up front. It's pretty cool. We recently crossed over 1,000 miles in Ava, so I've done 1,046.6 miles since I took ownership of Ava, which is cool. I've got a little clock there, which has always been in the van since I inherited it. Anybody know what that is? Answers in the comments. I'd love to. In fact, I'll ask the question again. Does anybody not know what that is? Answers in the comments. So it's a little lever. You twist it to the right to unlock, and you pull it out, and then you twist it clockwise, lefty loosey, whooey, righty tighty to tighten it up. In case you're not sure, that is the choke. So basically what that does is it increases the mixture of fuel in the engine, which subsequently makes the revolutions higher. I believe it makes the engine more rich, is that correct? It's a carburetor based engine, so it's proper old school. When the engine's cold, it needs a little bit of help to get going. But standard gauges and stuff like that just gives you what you need to know. You know, this was built in the 90s at the end of the day, right? It is old school. Check out my radio. So back in the day, these are all the rage, right? All the youngsters on here probably wondering what it is. But that is what we put CDs in. Granted, I don't really use it that much because I've only got one CD, and that was the one I bought when I went to Glastonbury with Anna by Nigel Shaw, called Bones. It's really good, actually. It's really good music if you're into your witchy stuff. That tends to be my, you'll have seen that in my videos. A few people have said, why don't you put a W in front of the A? And I'm like, I couldn't possibly do that. What word would that make? Oh my goodness. Typical glove box. It's not very big, that one. There's not much storage in it really. I tend to just have the head unit in there from there. And that's about it. Mirrorless sun visors, a mirror with another Juicy. There's plenty of Juicies in here today. Yeah, door lights. These are my ribbons from Beltane. They're still on the door, getting quite weathered. Wind up windows, wind down windows, and that's about it, guys, to be honest. There's not a lot else to explain. Oh, I'll tell you what I can show you while we're in the front. I'll just turn the engine off because the ignition's... Oh, all right. Oopsie. So the handbrake is on the driver's side, right hand side. In fact, shall we show you the engine? Let's show you the engine. And you can, for all you guys that are into your cogs and stuff. Is that what they call it, cogs and stuff? There's a Louise leg. Below Louise's leg there's a little pull lever. That's to pop the bonnet. Juicy Ava. Just about the middle, there's a little lever. Lift up. I don't know if it's going to be too dark to show you. Probably is, to be honest. But you've got the main battery there. It's an air unit. You've got your expansion tank for your water. That is for your brake fluids. And you've got a spare. Unusual place for a spare tyre, right? But you've got some spider webs. Down there you can see another battery. It's let's bring the camera up. So that's the leisure battery. I don't know how old it is. It's probably been there forever. Yeah, she's a solid engine, to be fair. You've got a carburetor there. I've had new fuel pump fitted, new fuel filter, and this is part of the fuel lines. They were perished quite badly when I got Ava. And this breather hose. You probably remember when I was saying I was getting smoked out. It was because of that. There was a split, but you can see my mechanics put some sealant around it. But yeah, the engine bay, I mean, it's clean. It's really clean. She's got no oil leaks at all, which is really good. Yeah, some electricery over there. The changeover switches for the Victron side of things. You can see you've got a Victron switch. It's just the brains of what changes when you're changing from different modes, I guess. But yeah, it's fairly clean. Got a bit of corrosion along the top side or the underside of the bonnet, but it does not deter from use. What else have we got over here? Yeah, I think that's what they call the scuttle panel. It is well known on these vehicles to just rot and deteriorate. That will need to be replaced at some point. But yeah, she's had various bits painted throughout her life, bits of filler in places. She's an old bird full of filler, a bit like me. Although I'm not full of filler, not yet anyway. But one thing I have done is sorted out. I know I said earlier about I took off all of the rubber along here. All the way along the windscreen. I took out all of the sealant. There was a lot of sealant put in there to stop leaks, but she has had significant leaks inside. It's evident just from having a look around. But I patched all that up, and she doesn't leak now. She's completely leak-proof, leak-free. The inside's completely dry. But yeah, on the whole, she's great, right? It's Ava. This is one of the main parts of the Juicy Ava, and I completely love her. You know, she's my home from home, right? When I'm not in the house, I'm in the van, and that's just the way I like to live my life now. I'd love to go full time, I really would, but it's just not something I can completely do right now. Not saying that it won't happen one day, because I have every intention of doing that. I've just got some life goals to achieve before I eventually go out and take that leap. It's quite a big leap, and for all you out there who are doing full-time van life, I take my hat off to you, because where we always see the romance of van life, it's not always romance, right? It's hard going. It's an entirely different lifestyle, right? Da 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 da. Right, I got you guys on the left-hand side of the van now. Oh, beautiful sun. So the sun's starting to go down now, actually. It's getting to that time of the day. It's currently 7:30. I've not had dinner. I just don't know where today's gone. It's quite surprising how long it takes to, I feel so calm when I'm in my element, this is my element, right? I just feel so just at peace with myself. It's bloody amazing. I love it. I really do. Right, if the sorry, I'm just changing complete subject, but if the camera's going to fall off the van, this is where it's going to fall off, right? But at least I'm only doing 0.001 miles bloody per hour. But so just to explain where I am, I'm now heading up towards the hill. So we've come from the main National Trust car park, and it's about half a mile walk to the next stage, which is the bottom of the White Horse Hill, and there's a little car park there. It's designated for disabled people. Sometimes people at this sort of evening, if it's not got anybody in there, they will park up. So we'll have a look. We'll see what the area's like. Just I want to show you for those who've never been here before, I just want to show you what the White Horse Hill at Uffington's all about. Let's see. There's cattle grids. You probably heard me rattling over. The car park does look quite full, to be fair. It might be the case that I can't actually park, which isn't a problem. We'll come up with a plan. But essentially what you got to the left of us is Wiltshire into Oxfordshire, and in the distance you'll have Gloucester and beyond. But it's a remarkable part of the world, this. There's a few people here already, but I can't really park here. But look at that view. Oh my goodness. Are you guys getting any of this? So that there is the White Horse Hill. We all windswept and interesting. I've only literally just come out of the van. I've been obviously doing the oh, that's bright. Doing a bit more of a reveal. Hopefully it was okay. I mean, if you're still watching now, it's gone alright. It's just all about keeping it interesting, isn't it? That's the thing. Surprisingly very light on the wind. So I don't know if you know much about Uffington White Horse. It's one of, is it 7? I think there's seven or 8 horses in Wiltshire, chalk horses. This is not just a white horse on the side of a hill. It used to be a castle as well, many moons ago. And I'm out of breath. It's all uphill. And the landscape below the hill, which you'll see very soon, dates back to the Ice Age. So a lot of the land around here was formed from ice moves during the Ice Age, I believe. Sunset. We're getting a sunset. It's not as severe. It's not as severe as what Glastonbury tour was, but I am in work tomorrow, so I don't want to be too tired. There's a Lucy shadow. Hello. It's surprisingly windless. I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but that's the car park that I tried to get into. Looks like typically 2 or 3 vehicles have left since we tried to get in. That's cool. Of all the years I've lived in this area, this has always been a good place to come to just relax and reset, forget the world. You can probably see why. Spectacular, right? That strange looking hill, it's a bit like Silbury Hill in Avebury, on the Avebury. Okay, it's quite steep. Yeah, I'm sure you guys will agree. I forgot my hat and I haven't got a bobble, so schoolgirl. I got the wind in my hair. It's a long way. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. So I've done most of the heavy lifting. We're about halfway. It's not too bad really. Can you see Farringdon? There's a town called Farringdon over there somewhere. And you've also got Coles Hill and Highworth, Shrivenham, Swindon. Let's try and be cinematic, Lucy. So that's Dragon Hill down there. This is this bit here. It's quite a steep hill. You would want to go rolling down that. Are they sheep or cows? You can't really tell at this height. Mines are so rubbish. And you've got the White Horse here, look. You don't really get the true picture of it unless you're either in the air or at certain points. I don't know if you can remember back earlier in my sort of intro video, you could see bits and pieces. That would be my short video I put on YouTube. I love doing the shorts. But look at this. See the undulations in the land. This is where ice had moved through many years ago. And all that moves through now is magic memories, cows. I really can't tell what they are. My eyes are so bad. And the wind. Look what the universe has given us. This is amazing, right? Have you ever been to the White Horse? Uffington White Horse. Weirdly, it's not actually in Uffington, believe it or not. So Uffington is a town, or is it a village? I'm not really sure. So basically, it's around about there. The nearest actual place was where I started the video where we came through. You might have seen the pub called the White Horse, ironically. Why would they call a pub the White Horse? But that's a place called Woolstone, which is beautiful. It's a lovely place. But yeah, we're getting on top of things now. It was a few years ago, the kids and I, it was over maybe 3 years ago now, over the summer holidays, we got the opportunity to come and do some renovation work up here, and it was to help the National Trust re-chalk and put chalk in to the existing, just because of erosion and things like that. And that was such a wonderful experience, especially to spend time with the children doing something so, you know, meaningful, helping restore something that means so much. You can just see her eye there. Yeah, you can just see her eye and her ear, so we're pretty much stood between her two ears right here. There used to be a campsite at the bottom of there as well once upon a time, but unfortunately it closed down. It was a wonderful place to camp. The old lady, bless her soul, she's gone back to the universe now. But yeah, she used to run a good gig here once upon a time, but unfortunately the farm that I believe she owned a farm that closed down and the campsite was no more. We're now on the walk. We're now on the walk to the top of the world. It is quite literally the top of the world up here. Like everywhere else, right? There isn't the top of the world. You know what I mean, don't you? You know what I mean by the top of the world. It can be wherever you want it to be, right? I'm at the highest point pretty much. It's very windy. Hopefully it's not coming through on the mic. If it is DJI, we need to have a chat. I've got my little sock on. Testing, 1, 2. Why is it you guys do this? Hold the mic like this to your mouth. I've seen people do it using all manner of different implements from, I think it's a TikTok thing. Is it a TikTok thing? Alrighty, Uffington Castle. This is Uffington Castle. I'll turn you around. So I'm looking due south there. It's just a bit of a mound really. There are no ruins here anymore or anything like that. There's certainly no structural, oh I slipped there. There are no structural sort of remains for you to, you know, visually see. We've got these big ditches which go all the way around the perimeter of what would have been the main site. It's a huge area. You know, you can see all the way around. It covers off quite a huge sort of area, so you can imagine the castle back in those days was pretty big, or at least the grounds that the castle was in. Can you imagine? I mean, it's quite high up, right? You see how high we are. Back in the day, the horse and carts, I suppose, right? What does this say? It's a bit of history for you. There we go. Who says I don't educate you guys? Have a read of that. Old fort defended by a bank and ditch with entrance on the west. Built during the Iron Age, 300 BC. Oh my goodness. The White Horse may have been related to the fort, and in recent times the fair and festivities connected with the scouring of the horse were scouring of the horse were held here. This monument is in the care of the Ministry of Works. It is an offence to injure or deface it. Do you see what I mean about being on top of the world here? It's just such a wonderful place for such a wonderful view. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I've not said, you know, very much today, have I? You know? But yeah, that's the world right in front of you guys.